I have, offensive line looking at, the main returner you have and Chris Adams. Just how are you challenging him to be even better than he was last year?
Yeah, well, I think last year a lot of it for him was learning our system, how we do things, and it was very different from what he was used to and what he had experience in, and so there was a little bit of a learning curve there. And I think what we really focused on this offseason was like, man, how do you take the next step? Okay, he's already on the radar for a lot of teams at the next level, and it was how do we get you in a position to where you can be very consistent, you can play fast, play very confident, and dominate like we know he can. And I think it was again continuing to I guess master the playbook in some sense, be able to even be, get up on the board, draw up the playbook, explain the objective inside and out, not just his position. And we've really focused on that this summer, and then a lot of it fundamental. But for him, there's a big expectation in regards to leadership for our room, with the amount of experience that he has under his belt for us, and done a great job to this point. Has been really consistent throughout camp so far.
And then when you look at the new guys that you've brought in, now that you've had this amount of time with them, who are some of the guys that are sticking out to you so far?
Yeah, well, I think the other returner that you have that we didn't have in the spring is Malachi Breland. And I'm really excited for him. He worked really hard to come back from the injury, and he dropped. I mean, he's 320 now. Okay, I think last year he was playing around 338, 340. So he's in the best shape of his life, and next to Chris, like he has played really good ball, through the first 7 practices. So excited about what he's bringing to the table right now. The new guys, I think Yakiri Walker has grown a ton. Second time, really the third time here in our offense, and calling it from the middle, which I know I've said this in the past. And this offense, the center position is not an easy one, and learning it for the first time and what he's done. Really proud of him. You got Travis Burke and Parker Mitchell, which those guys again coming into this system have just really grown. You've seen them develop this offseason. They really took the weight room and the conditioning and stuff seriously this summer, have put good mass on, and we've been able to keep that athleticism across the board, which again, this is probably top to bottom the most athletic group we've had, the deepest group we've had. So it's a good starting point, but we have to continue to grow together.
You ever coach somebody as tall as Travis Burke?
I actually have.
Really?
Yeah. I think he wore number 69, Tyler Miller, at my last place, 6'9", same size, yeah.
Just with Travis, though, I mean, aside from the height, what stands out about him and his skill
Well, anytime you're that tall, I think the biggest thing you look at is the ankle and hip flexibility, and his mobility. So it doesn't help you to be 6'9" if you can't bend and play at the level of somebody that's 6'2", maybe at defensive end or inside as a 3 technique. So you have to be able to bend, you have to be able to get through your hips, but the advantage that he has is length. He can keep people a mile away from him because his arms are so darn long. But I've been really impressed. Like I knew it watching his videotape before we contacted this offseason. It was like he moves really well for a guy that size and bends really well. He bends like a 6'4" guard.
Obviously, it's important to run the ball, as we know, but with the amount of turnover you have with the pass catchers and at quarterback, does that put even bigger emphasis on the O-line and the backs to be able to run the ball?
I don't view it any differently, because I think year in and year out, the objective is always to run the ball. You know what I mean? But realistically, where we're going to land schematically is based on our personnel. If you look at us 2 years ago, I think it fit our O-line and our backs that year. We were a heavy mid-zone operation. Last year, we were bigger, we were stronger, and we were downhill. And it fit our backs really well, too, in some sense, who we had a tight end. And this year, we're really athletic. I think our guys are going to win in space. I think that they can, that we can get some defenses moving. We can displace people and then wear on them and then get vertical. So I think gap scheme is going to be in the mix. I think, we're going to be able to do some things that are a little bit different than we've done in the past. But with who we have in the backfield, the big emphasis right now is, stay attached to bodies and keep running your feet, because these guys are going to make something happen.
How much work does the tight end get with you in terms of the blocking?
Yeah. Individually, probably 10 to 15 minutes every day. We will You know, we cut a period, cut a chunk in Indy for tackle tight end combinations. You know, when we get to the season, we'll bring them over and do a run review in the middle of our individual, you know, at the beginning of practice. It's very important, in my opinion. That tight end position is very unique because those guys are, man, they have to be, they're heavily involved in the passing game, but they're very critical in what we do in the run game. So they're, you know, they're kind of like a Swiss Army knife, but there's a lot on their plate as well. So you kind of have to grab them when you can to make sure they're dialed into what the run plans and checks are.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
All
Appreciate
right,
it.
appreciate y'all.